It is late Wednesday on this August 15th, and we have a newly classified tropical depression situated to the southeast of Bermuda, and although it is likely to go ahead and become Tropical Storm Gordon over the next 1 to 2 days, it's forecast to move more toward the northeast and away from land. What is of potentially more interest is this tropical wave moving over the Yucatan Peninsula, and if the northern extent of this wave can move into the lower Bay of Campeche or extreme western Gulf of Mexico, it will have to be watched for any signs of tropical development. Tropical cyclone formation is unlikely for the next 72 hours as the convection is currently strung out over a very large area and it's primarily centered over land, so the chances of development will not begin to increase until the 4 to 6 day period, and that is if any of this activity can remain out over the open waters of the western Gulf. Currently, the western Gulf of Mexico is not conducive for tropical development as we do have this very large upper level low that is helping to generate a lot of vertical wind shear and dry air, but the latest guidance is indicating that this upper level low will gradually diminish in intensity and perhaps fully dissipate within the next 72 to 96 hours. The real key to any development potential will simply be whether or not this low-level vorticity max, which is currently situated over the Honduras coastline, will be able to remain over the open waters of the western Gulf for the next 4 to 7 days. It will also be very important to see if this very small but favorable upper-level ridge near Honduras will be able to progress northwestward along with the wave axis and replace that upper-level low that is currently situated over the western Gulf. If it does indeed happen, then the vertical wind shear profile over the southwest Gulf will likely become more favorable. At this time yesterday, the GFS model was showing the activity remaining over the western Gulf with the potential for tropical cyclone development within 7 days. Now, the latest 18Z run of the GFS is keeping most of this activity over the Mexican coastline, just far enough toward the west to where we just barely miss out on that tropical cyclone action. But you can see even by day 7, we've got a remnant area of low pressure and vorticity just inland, and if you shift this just a couple hundred miles toward the east, then we would have some tropical mischief sitting to the southeast of Brownsville, Texas. In terms of the synoptic steering, as long as this tropical wave axis remains weak, it will be guided by the low to mid-level steering flow, but if there is any organization of a low-pressure center in the southwest Gulf, it may begin to feel the effects of all of this troughing that is forecast over the central and eastern United States over the next week, so it will be interesting to see how this trough interacts with any Gulf activity and whether or not the wind shear conditions will be favorable. This is the latest low-level vorticity forecast over the next 10 days from the ECMWF. And as we go into 48 and 72 hours, it is a little bit more aggressive with the broad area of low pressure just to the east of Tampico, but not aggressive enough to really imply any tropical cyclone formation. And it keeps all of this activity moving westward through 4 days. So as we move into early Sunday and into Monday, it's keeping everything just far enough inland to where there's no development taking place. And as we go into early next week, we see a frontal boundary trying to move into the northern Gulf Coast, and anything near the tail end of this boundary will have to be monitored out across the northwest Gulf. So even if we don't see tropical activity over the Gulf of Mexico, we can almost guarantee that there will be an increase in shower and thunderstorm activity near the Texas coastline. And anytime you're talking about this persisting for a while over the Gulf in late August, it will be something to closely follow. But that's not the only potential for tropical mischief over the next 5 to 10 days. As you can see, as we go into 168 hours or next Wednesday and advance into Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, the European model has a tropical storm situated out across the central Atlantic. And although the other models are really not implying an actual tropical cyclone just yet, they are all at least suggesting that the Cape Verde hurricane activity will potentially increase toward the tail end of August, with a series of tropical waves that are a little bit stronger and higher in amplitude. And this fits well with climatology as we head closer toward the peak of the hurricane season. And this is also in conjunction with the favorable phase of the Madden-Julian oscillation, which should keep the number of tropical disturbances above average for the remainder of the month. But the good news is that nothing imminent is occurring on this Wednesday night, and any development that does occur in the western Gulf is going to take its time in doing so, and a lot of land interaction could disrupt those chances altogether. We'll just have to wait and see on that. So that wraps up your tropical weather update from 28storms.com. We will have another video posted sometime on Thursday.